We are in section 5.3, and in this section we are multiplying binomials. So when we multiply binomials, I'm going to use a method with arrows, but some of you might have learned this before as FOIL, and FOIL stands for first, outside, inside, and then last. So my directions are to multiply, and the first problem is 3x minus 2 times x plus 6. So I'm going to take this 3x and distribute it through. And when I multiply the 3x times x, I get 3x squared. And when I multiply the 3x times x would give me 3x squared. And 3x times 6 would give me an 18x. And that completes the 3x. Then I can pick back up and multiply the negative 2 through. So this would give me a negative 2x minus 12. Watch your signs. In the middle, you'll see that these two are like terms. So putting them all together, I have a 3x squared. 18x minus 2x would give me a 16x minus 12. And that's my answer. My next problem is 4 minus 2x times 5 minus 3x. Starting with my first term, I'm going to multiply first times first and then outside. So 4 times 5 is 20, and 4 times negative 3x is negative 12x. I can pick back up with a negative 2x, and this would be inside, and this would be last. So inside would be a negative 10x, and two negatives make a positive 6x squared. In the middle, I see that I have like terms. So my problem here, my answer is 20. In the middle, I have a negative 12x minus 10x, so those have the same sign. So I'm going to add and keep the sign to get a negative 22x plus 6x squared. If you wrote your answer in a different order, that's just fine. My next problem is 3x plus 7 times 3x minus 7. And this is a special case because something odd happens. So I'm going to take that 3x and distribute it through. And this gives me 9x squared minus 21x. Then I'm going to pick back up with a 7 and distribute it through. So this gives me a positive 21x minus 49. In the middle, I see that these signs are opposite. One's a positive 21x and one's a negative 21x. Since they have different signs, they cancel out. And your final answer is 9x squared minus 49. Be really careful with those middle terms. Sometimes they're going to cancel out. Sometimes they're not going to cancel out depending upon the signs. So really watch your signs carefully. Our next problem is 7x squared minus 2 times 3x squared minus 5. I'm going to distribute the 7x squared through. So this gives me 21x to the fourth minus 35x to the second. Picking back up with the 2, we would get a negative 6x squared, and two negatives make a positive 10. So we have 21x to the fourth. In the middle, we have the same sign, so we're going to add and keep the sign. So that would be a negative 41x squared plus 10. And that would be your answer. The last two problems in this section are special cases, but they're very important and you will most definitely use them. If you have a binomial squared, your first step is to rewrite it. Okay, so when I mean rewrite, we're going to take a 2x minus 5 and we're going to take that 2 times. 2x minus 5 times 2x minus 5. Okay, and then it's a regular old FOIL problem like we've been doing in this section. So I can distribute the 2x through, This gives me 4x squared minus 10x. And I can distribute the 5 through, and that gives me a negative 10x plus 25. Even though in the middle they look like they cancel out, they don't. Because in the middle here, they have the same sign. So the same sign tells you to add and keep the sign. So that would be a negative 20x plus 25. Be very careful with your signs. My next problem is x plus 4 squared. So the first step that I'm going to do is rewrite it. So that's an x plus 4 times an x plus 4. And then I can multiply it out. So multiply the x through, and that gives me x squared plus 4x. Multiply the 4 through, and this gives me 4x plus 16. In the middle, these two terms are alike. So I bring down the x squared, and 4x plus 4x would give me an 8x plus 16. That's the end of the section.